Wu Zetian, that name, it belongs to one of the most formidable and, yeah, controversial rulers in all of history. So today, we're going to dig into how she achieved the impossible, rising from the absolute lowest rungs of the imperial court to become the most powerful person in China. Okay, let's just start with a fact that is, frankly, staggering. In over 3,000 years of Chinese imperial history, we're talking hundreds of emperors, only one was a woman. Just one, who legitimately held the title of sovereign ruler. Think about that for a second. I mean, this wasn't just some lucky break. Her story is a masterclass in political genius, ruthless ambition, and just the complete shattering of tradition. So the big question is, how on earth did she pull it off? Her journey starts, really, at the bottom of the imperial ladder. At just 14 years old, she enters the palace as a low-ranking concubine for Emperor Taizong. Now, she was smart, she was educated, but she really didn't have much influence at all. And this one story, this quote, wow, it tells you almost everything you need to know about her, right from the start. The emperor had this wild horse he couldn't tame, and the young Wu Zetian steps up with this chillingly practical plan. She says she'd whip it, then hammer its head, and if it still resisted, she'd just cut its throat. The emperor was impressed, sure, but it was also a terrifying preview of the ruthlessness that would later define her. So when Emperor Taizong died, tradition said that Wu, being childless, was supposed to just live out the rest of her life in a monastery. For most, that would have been it. Game over. But not for her. See, she had already made a connection with the new emperor, Gaozong. He brings her back to the palace, and her calculated climb begins. Now, a key moment comes when her infant daughter dies. Wu accuses the reigning Empress Wang of the murder. To this day, historians fiercely debate what really happened, but it worked. Empress Wang was thrown out, and Wu took her place. But here's the thing. Becoming empress, that was never the endgame for her. Not even close. It was just the beginning. Wu Zetian very quickly went from being the emperor's wife to his political partner, and then his master. As Emperor Gaozong's health started to fail, he just leaned on her more and more. Their joint rule became so official, they were actually known as the Two Saints. At first, she'd sit behind a curtain during court meetings and tell him what to do. But pretty soon, that curtain disappeared. Her power was out in the open, and it was absolute. She locked down her power with this brilliant and frankly terrifying mix of terror and talent. She set up a network of spies and secret police that created this climate of fear, getting rid of anyone who dared to stand in her way. But at the same time, she promoted talented officials based on merit, not their family name, which earned her incredible loyalty. After Gaozong died, she ruled through her sons, even deposing one and turning the other into a puppet. Make no mistake, she was in charge. Okay, so she's been the real power for decades. But that wasn't enough. She was ready to take the final, unbelievable step, to claim the ultimate title for herself and start her very own dynasty. In the year 690, she just drops all pretense. She forces her own son to give up the throne, interrupting the celebrated Tang dynasty. Then she declared a brand new dynasty, the Zhou, with herself as its founder and emperor. This was an act of such shocking audacity, it was completely unheard of in Chinese history. And to really mark this moment, she did something, well, it's just so incredibly bold. She literally invented a new Chinese character for her own name, Zhao. Just look at it. It's made of the symbols for the sun and the moon shining together over an empty sky. The message couldn't be clearer. She was positioning herself as a divine, cosmic ruler, basically on the same level as the heavens. And she took the title of Huangdi, not empress, but emperor. This was the title of the supreme sovereign, the son of heaven, a role that had been exclusively for men for thousands of years. She wasn't a regent or a power behind the throne anymore. She was the emperor. So what was she actually like as a ruler? Well, this is where her story gets so complicated. Her reign was this total contradiction. On one hand, she expanded the empire, rebooted the economy, and reformed the government to promote talented people. But all of that was built on a foundation of pure terror. She used a secret police force, political purges, and assassinations to keep her grip on power. She was a brilliant leader and a ruthless tyrant, all at the same time. And you can really see this split personality in these images, right? On one side, you've got this model of her incredible palace, a symbol of the cultural and economic boom she led. And on the other, the stark, simple gravestone of a general she promoted, a reminder of the feared but effective state she commanded. She was a builder and a destroyer, a patron of the arts and a master of political fear. Her unprecedented reign lasted for 15 years, but her influence and the arguments about who she really was, well, they've been going on for centuries. So how did it all end? Well, in her final years, she was old, she was sick, and her grip on power finally started to slip. Court officials staged a coup, they forced her to abdicate in favor of her son, and the Tang dynasty was put back in place. She died later that same year. But maybe the most powerful statement she ever made was the one she made after she died. At her tomb, there are two huge stone monuments called steles. One is for her husband, Emperor Gaozong, and it's covered in inscriptions praising his reign. Hers is completely blank. It's known as the Wordless Stele. Was this her way of saying her achievements were too great for words? Or was she leaving it up to us to judge her? We'll never really know for sure. You know, even the traditional Confucian historians back then, who were completely against the idea of a woman in charge, kind of had to admit she was good at her job. This quote calls her a hen that crowed, basically an unnatural woman doing a man's job, but then it admits she was a competent ruler, who eventually did the right thing by giving power back to the Tang dynasty. So we're left right back where we started, with this huge question. Was she a visionary leader who shattered the ultimate glass ceiling, or a cruel despot who clawed her way to power through manipulation and murder? The truth is, she was probably both. Her story challenges any easy definition of good or evil, and that silent, blank monument at her tomb makes sure the debate over China's only female emperor will never truly be over.